Hello there, it's the 5th of June 2018 and thank you for staying tuned to LTN. You're just in time to catch your favorite program, Business Tuesday. First, let's take a look at what's coming up right ahead. US trade partners announced retaliatory tariffs after President Trump imposed steep tariffs on steel and aluminum. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed into law legislation to counter sanctions from the US and its allies. Plan to increase taxes for large corporates and the rich is not sustainable, says experts. Acting Kenya Post Authority Managing Director Daniel Manduku has dismissed coast leaders calling for the removal for being a non-local. And South African President Cyril Ramaphosa consulted industry stakeholders on economic growth. This is Business Tuesday and my name is Eddy, Nyadwa, and the program begins right now. First, let's talk trade. And foreign minister from BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, are expected to lay the foundation for the annual summit for the groupings in Johannesburg next month. The ministers spent the better day of Monday in Pretoria discussing governance, multilateralism and trade. The meeting comes ahead of the BRICS Leaders Summit in Johannesburg in July. BRICS members have agreed on joint action on several issues.
The evolving world in which we live requires us to keep track with multifaceted and dynamic changes that are occurring. We are also beholden to our resolutions and ensuring that we realize them in this changing world.
Our group stands firm when we defend the basic principles of the UN Charter. First of all, the sovereign equality of states and non-interference in internal affairs. We stick to the principles of indivisible security in all of its dimensions and the collective methods of crisis resolution for political and diplomatic means.
India attaches importance to the role of BRICS in consolidating intra-BRICS cooperation and in international affairs. I am more than confident under South Africa's able chairship, this initiative will be carried to new heights.
We need to deepen the cooperation, dig into new driver forces of full growth and focus on innovation. We need to stick to dialogue and consultation, deepen mutual trust and set an example into state relations, be open and inclusive.
We stand out as a coalition committed to equipping global governance structures with the necessary means to deal with an increasingly complex world and complex challenges both in the economic and the political spheres.
And now let's talk about sanctions. Russian President Vladimir Putin had signed into law legislation to counter sanctions from the US and its allies. It gives the president the powers to ban trade and sever ties with countries that he considers unfriendly. The bill was drafted in April and approved by Russian legislators last month in response to America's penalties against Moscow. The US Treasury had put 14 Russian corporations and several Russian businessmen on sanctions list, a move that had been protested by Moscow. And now let's talk about tariffs and about retaliation on tariffs. And it's that President Trump imposing of steep tariffs on steel and aluminum from three of America's biggest trading partners, that is Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. Now, Mexico, European Union, and Canada immediately denounced the new tariffs and went a step further to announce a plan to retaliate against American products. In particular, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that the tariffs are an insult to the long-standing relationship between the two countries, that is between Canada and America.
The fact that the president has moved forward with these tariffs is not just going to hurt Canadian jobs, it's going to hurt U.S. jobs as well. And neither of those things is something that Canada wants to see. The president and the administration have decided that Canadian steel and aluminum is a national security threat to the United States. Now, first of all, the idea that, you know, our soldiers who had fought and died together on the beaches of World War II, in the mountains of Afghanistan, and have stood shoulder to shoulder in some of the most difficult places in the world, that are always there for each other, somehow this is insulting to them.
This is $16.6 billion of retaliation. This is the strongest trade action Canada has taken in the post-war era.
Announced today that we'll take action at the equivalent amount to compensate exactly the damage done to Mexican exports on steel and aluminum.
This is a bad day for the world trade. What they can do, we are able to do exactly the same. It's totally unacceptable that a country is imposing unilateral measures when it comes to world trade.
No hay justificación económica.
There's no economic justification at the end of the day. You see that Mexico has a deficit with the US in aluminium and steel. We consume more from them than we export, moreover in sectors that are essential for their companies.
And now to some devastating news about a fire that broke in America is that a large fire broke out on Sunday at an East Hollywood strip mall that had sustained heavy damage in a fire last year. The latest blaze damaged at least 8 apartments in the 25,000 square foot building. As you can see from the pictures there, it was quite a heavy fire. Now, still in America, we revisit the Starbucks story. Remember, the stores came under scrutiny from the public after the arrest in Philadelphia. Now, you find that the Starbucks closed more than 8,000 of its stores across the United States to conduct employee training on racial bias, a closely watched exercise that spotlights lingering problems of discrimination nationwide. The move, which affects more than 175,000 employees, follows the April 12th arrest of 2 black men in Philadelphia Starbucks, an incident sparking outrage, protest, and angry soul-searching about racial tension that have deteriorated during the Donald Trump
I think this is such a widespread
issue.
I think this is about segregation and the deeper systemic issues in our country. I think Starbucks is a symbol of that, and that event that happens all the time.
Things like this unfortunately have to happen for us to sometimes unite and come together to see how differences and opinions and different parties can come together to resolve issues.
I study education policy, and I know that one-day workshops don't really do anything, so I'm not sure if there's a more comprehensive plan, but it seems more like a public relations effort than something more meaningful.
And now to some tech development news is that China on Saturday launched a new Earth observation satellite, Gaofen 6, which will be mainly used for agricultural resource research and disaster monitoring. The Gaofen 6 was launched on a Long March 2D from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. A scientific experiment satellite named Luoji 1 was sent into space at the same time. It is the 276th mission of the Long March rocket series. China is increasingly deepening its ties with other countries also in Asia, apart from Africa. Now, in Asia, we find that the Abu Dhabi Global Market has launched its first overseas representative office in Beijing. The office will work on regulatory collaborations, initiating new projects and joint activities to generate more cross-border commerce. Here is Rashid Al-Khamiz, the Consul General of the UAE in Shanghai.
Speaking of 2016, China has become has outnumbered India in terms of largest trade partner with UAE. with amount of non-oil trade, we're speaking, with amount of $48 US billion we're speaking out. And there is a huge potential to increase the trade investment follow in the key sectors of, such as trade, tourism, retail and logistics, renewable energy, high-tech, real estate. Speak about the currency as well. We used to have the US dollar in between our currencies. Nowadays we can do a direct exchange between dirham, our currency, and to the RMB, the yuan, Chinese RMB.
On the one hand, UnionPay cardholder visiting the country now can pay by tapping their UnionPay chip card and the mobile phones. On the other hand, the local customers can also enjoy this kind of safe and convenient mobile payment, since over 50,000 UnionPay chip card has already been issued locally, and all these cards support contactless payment function.
And now let's focus on some business news that made headlines in Africa. And we begin with our neighbors right here in Uganda, where you find that over 700 angry drivers of trucks and pickups on Monday blocked roads in Mbale town. The drivers also blocked gates of Mbale Municipal Council with their trucks paralyzing transport in the town. They accused Mbale Municipal Council of awarding the tender of loading and offloading of trucks to Soldier Eddy Kanyanja illegally.
Abalole batulese mutendala gwe tutayagala katuli tusaba tenda twasaba tenda okuvira ddala mwaka gwa 2007 paka nakati batubuza buzowe batu kati olwaleero kivola tukende wano fe ebyakayanja nekatuliwe tubiganyi.
So I urge them next time to apply, because the financial regulations are clear. You cannot just give out minus someone doing what? Applying. It is only Equator who applied, so, and it is already awarded what? A contract. So I urge my people, the drivers, that let them be patient. Next time they will join together with Mbale Municipal Council and work together. Also I urge them to join right now with Equator. We have never refused them to apply for it.
Now still, let's focus on our neighbors. Now we move straight in Tanzania, whereby we find that Total Tanzania has launched a new product, that is Total Exelium. Here's what the company had to say about their new product.
Total, kama tunavyoendelea sasa, tumeendelea kuwa kampuni kubwa toka March mwaka 2017. Total kama Total imenunua kampuni ya Gapco, na kwa ununuzi huo tunaonyesha tu dhamira yetu ya Total kwa Tanzania kukuza masoko na kuhakikisha kwamba tunatoa mafuta mazuri Tanzania nzima kila sehemu. Total itazindua product mpya, mafuta mapya yanayoitwa Total Exelium. Mafuta haya yametengenezwa kwa teknolojia mpya, teknolojia ya ubora wa juu, teknolojia ya kimataifa. Na mafuta haya yatakayozinduliwa kesho yatauzwa kwenye vituo vyote vya Total.
Sasa unapopunguza matumizi ya mafuta, lazima unapungua uchafuzi wa mazingira. Kwa hivyo injini safi hupunguza uchafuzi wa mazingira. Total Exelium inaboresha ufanyaji kazi wa injini na husaidia kupunguza utoaji wa gesi chafu kama carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide na hydrocarbons na kadhalika zinazotokana na mzunguko wa injini. Matumizi kidogo ya mafuta husaidia kupunguza utoaji wa gesi chafu. Na kwa mwisho nilitaka kuwaelekeza kwamba ubora na ufanisi wa hali ya juu kwa bei ile ile. Hiyo ndio Total Excellium.
And now let's move further south in the African continent, in South Africa, and see what President Cyril Ramaphosa has been up to lately. Now, it's now 4 months since he took office, and Cyril Ramaphosa is wasting no time in convincing South Africans and the world that changes is on the horizon. He sat down with business owners, academics, and professionals to hear their views on how to get the economy moving once again.
The strength of doing this is to be able to bring together South Africans who have a contribution to make, who have views to put across, so that we engage everyone and come out with the best solutions ever.
So my question to you, Mr. President, is how are you going to make sure that the values that we've identified will take us forward as a country are lived at a granular individual level?
We are very excited about the Tumamina. We support it, and we hope it won't only be PR, it will actually be action-orientated.
We spend in this country billions of rands in goods and services. However, a good percentage of these billions of rands goes into white-owned companies and companies that are not transformed, because BEE only counts for 10%.
We've set up this presidential state-owned enterprise, SOE Council, where all the key state-owned enterprises in our economy are going to be overseen, where we are going to look at the balance sheet of every state-owned enterprise, scrutinize it properly, and see what is happening in each one. We want to focus on how we can grow our economy, and we've felt that one of the things that we can do is to increase the level of investment in the productive sectors of our economy by going out into the whole country and into the rest of the continent and to the world to go and raise $100 billion.
Now let's move back into Kenya and let's focus on some news and also made headlines on business fronts. And now we first start with the tax issue, whereby you find that tax experts have taken a divergent opinion on the government's intention to add corporate tax for large companies as well as expand the tax for wealthy individuals, citing these as cosmetic solution to address the government financing burden.
There is no clear-cut tax incentives that have been put in place to attract serious investors. When you go to Dubai, it's very clear why they attract people. When you go to Singapore, for example, it's very clear why they attract investors. And Kenya needs to seize the moment to get those investors come to Kenya, and the only way to do it is to have a very clear-cut tax incentives for them. Otherwise, if we don't do it, Rwanda will do it, or someone else is going to do it.
But our property taxes nationwide are very, very low. In some places, they are negligible, and in fact, in some cases, they result in greater speculation for land because there is no cost of owning land. That's why we have so much idle land. There's nothing to stop you from owning land because there's no annual cost to it. In many cases also, we are way, way behind on the valuation of land.
This largely would be seen to be sort of panic by government to want to increase the tax rate, obviously to meet the debt burden, the repayment of the SGR loans, the Eurobonds and the others. Our feeling is that that is not sustainable. You do not grow the taxes by increasing the tax rate, but what you need to be doing is actually to expand the tax base, especially to the informal sector.
The problem with the PPP is fairly simple. It is just too much bureaucracy.
When you have a cow, you cannot milk the cow beyond the milk that is going to produce because you'll be hurting the cow. What you need to do is to buy another cow.
And in the course, you find that a section of coast politicians have defended embattled former Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director Ms. Catherine Muturi, who was sent on compulsory leave over inefficiencies. The decision to send Her parking was made early on Wednesday after a special board meeting chaired by Mr. Michael Maina and attended by Transport PS Paul Maringa.
Ambaye yuko katika nafasi kubwa kabisa ya uongozi aliweza kuondolewa hapo juzi. Na tumeona kwamba kumekuwa na kashfa nyingi hivi majuzi ambazo bado hatua yoyote haijafanyika. Kwa hivyo nataka tuungane na ndugu zangu viongozi wa Kilifi tuhakikisha kwamba tumepata kina cha hatua ambazo zimechukuliwa na tuhakikisha kwamba ukweli umeangaliwa.
Ile moja peke yake ambayo ilikuwa inakaliwa na msichana wa Pwani, msichana wa Kilifi, Kenya Ports Authority. Juzi nasikia nimesoma kwamba PS amemtoa pale akamfurusha akaweka jamaa kutoka Kisii pale. Kama kwamba hakuna watu wanajua hiyo kazi hapa Kilifi ama hapa Pwani. Haya ni mambo uchungu ambayo lazima tuongee. Na mimi nitaongea hapa na bunge ikifunguliwa tarehe 4 nitaongea pale bunge. Manake sisi hatuwezi kuwa tunasherehekea madaraka, lakini madaraka ya kila kitu chetu ambacho tuko nacho kiko chini ya himaya ya Pwani kinatawaliwa na ukiangalia parastatals zote zile ziko kule Rift Valley, zile ziko Western, zile ziko wapi, zinatawaliwa na vijana na watu wa kutoka pale. Hao ndio viongozi. Lakini ukifika Pwani peke yake ndio unaona kwamba watu wa kutoka sehemu nyingine wanawekwa. Kwani mama wa Pwani, mama wa Kilifi hajazaa mtu ambaye amesoma vizuri akalie vile viti? Sasa mimi nitakwambia hivi gavana, kwamba kama watu wanasema wewe umeshikana mkono, mimi nasema kabla hujashikana na mkono, haya mambo lazima tuongee.
Still on the matters about KPA, that is the Kenya Ports Authority, is that the acting Kenya Ports Authority Director Daniel Manduku has dismissed coast leaders who are calling for his removal from the parastatals for being a non-local. Manduku is urging Kenyans to give him a chance to improve efficiency at the port of Mombasa. He says that he is highly qualified for the job and has no personal interest at the port. In the meantime, construction works have been completed on the cross bridge connecting the port and the Saturday railway terminus.
What do you mean by outsider? I am a Kenyan. I'm highly qualified. I am motivated to work here. But the most important thing you must know that coming from another sector, I have no personal interest. I am not a clearing agent. I don't own a ship. I don't have relatives working here. And so I'm coming with a mindset that is neutral and objective.
And still at the port of Mombasa is that the rate of cargo discharge at the port of Mombasa is expected to improve from the current 3,000 tons per ship per day to 10,000 tons after the parastatal received a new eco hoppers.
Project engineer for the delivery of eco hoppers in KPL. We had actually 4 in total. Sourced from a company known as Samson Material Handling Limited of the UK, but the actual manufactured in their factory in China. Now, the 4 of them cost a total of $6.2 million, which means that one of them is about $1.5 million. They have a capacity of 50 meters cubed. That's to say, that's the volume of each of the grounds that collect the material or the product that is being imported. The main use will be for bulk handling and for what? For dirty cargo. That's mainly clinker, coal, and gypsum. So these materials are of various densities. Now the design is such that we are able to accommodate the densities for all these materials. That's coal, gypsum, and clinker. As you know, clinker especially is corrosive in nature. So the importation of this set of equipment is a step ahead in this company, KPA, say that we have now made a statement to mean that we care for the environment, we care for our people, and it is under the auspices of the Green Port Policy, which was adopted in the year 2014-2015.
And now to some sad news about a building that collapsed in Ruma Estate is that 388 buildings in Ruma are unsuitable for occupancy and are scheduled to be demolished as soon as possible. Nairobi County officials have promised to make public the list of those buildings that are unsafe in an effort to ensure that the safety of city residents.
Kagua nyumba 2,011, nyumba 10,211, nyumba 388 ni mbaya, hastahili kuishi watu.
Tukuambiwa habari ya kibali, hakuna mtu aliambiwa. Saa hii ndiye tunajua habari ya kibali. Miaka yote sijajua. Tumejenga zaidi ya miaka 30 na hakuna kitu tunajua.
Vile mlisema iko na ghorofa nyingi na hakuna lift ya kupeleka mama mzee juu, ama unabeba mizigo yako namna gani, unaweza kuikata ama uongeze lift hata kama ni kutoka nje. And we are going to be very serious about that. Kama nyumba yako haileti mwangaza ndani, hiyo unajua naye inaleta magonjwa.
Wamesema vizuri ati wananchi hawafanyi na ward admin, hawafanyi na sub county admin, na hawafanyi nao wanapeana namba hapa, si ndio? Si watu wameandikwa kwa ofisi wafanyie wananchi. Kwa nini wanangoja nyumba ziporomoke ndio wakuje hapa na kudanganya wananchi?
You've all seen senior government officials, or rather elected leaders, once elected in office, they change their lifestyle. They drive Porsche cars, live in palatial homes. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has partnered with county governments to launch lifestyle auditing in a bid to fight runaway corruption in the country.
Because we are in the process of developing some tools on how to conduct lifestyle audit on not only the counties but also the government, the other government departments. You cannot conduct that lifestyle audit on your own staff or by your own self. The other day, Your Excellency, somebody did not even have a bicycle. Now, a small mini officer is driving top of the range and you of 20 million. You have the right to ask, because we look at your salary, we look at your allowances, we look at your budget versus what you own. And now we are going full throttle on asset recovery because we've seen that is the only way we can achieve this war of corruption. When we take people to courts, you had the Director say, a case which was taken in 2009 was determined last 2 weeks. A case which was taken, although now CJ Maraga said, once the cases start, the hearing starts, it will be done back to back until it's finished. He said it will not stop. If it starts on Monday, even if it takes a month to hear until its conclusion. And that can be a very big step on us. Now we've noticed when we take people to court, the courts get the best of the lawyers and the cases are thrown away. You know, when Engineer Kamau was released, because they said the anti-corruption was not well constituted because there are no commissioners, 125 cases were thrown out by the court. 125 cases, corruption cases, Your Excellency, of massive magnitude of amount were thrown away by the court. So we've said we are going to continue taking people to court, but we are going full throttle on asset recovery. Because if we can determine in court and prove that you did not deserve to own what you own now, then we just recover it and take it. And I think the 3 malls are in the process of being recovered. And that's how we are going to go.
And now we end on a light note. There was drama in Nairobi CBD yesterday noon after police and city council askaris raided revelers who were reveling at along Duruma Road. Now the revelers were escaping arrest, some even climbing walls in a bid to avoid arrest by city council askaris and also police officer. Here is what transpired.
Nataka huko tuende. Hebu ngoja. Hatuna kuenda. Sawa, haina tomato tu.
Ni saa ngapi mnaanza kunywa makombe hapa? Ingia hapa. Ona. Oya. Ingieni hapa kuna mwisho basi. Ingieni hapa mpaka mwisho basi. Hiyo maneno yanakuwa hapo ndani. Wewe uko na mimba unakunywa hapo mwakani.
Toa mkono hapo. Toa mkono. Toa mkono.
Mrengo. Kama hapo unakunywa na wewe unaendelea.
If you are innocent, just come out.
And now on that note, we've come to the end of Business Tuesday episode of this week. Remember to join me next week at the same time as I'll be bringing you an update of the US State Partners retaliation on tariffs, and also I'll be bringing you up to speed about the East African Community budgets. Remember, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda will be reading their budgets on the 14th of this month, and so now both countries are in the last minute stages of preparing those budgets. I'll be bringing you the highlights of that next week. My name is Eddy Nyadwa, and thanks for watching.